the live section. Michael Corcoran, do you want to kick us off?
I will, yeah. Thanks very much, David. Andy, good morning. You're keeping well, I hope?
I'm good, Corky. Are you?
Yeah, not so bad. No, thanks, yeah. Looking forward to the old trip, I have to say.
Good on you.
Listen, can you talk to me about the team and team selection? How difficult was it to select the match day 23? Now, I might say the starting 15. There's a number of kind of maybe either hours, maybe in your head, and that throughout the course of the week.
Yeah, as you know, it's always difficult. It doesn't matter what game you're talking about. It's always difficult when you've got a good squad, and we certainly got that. And we've said all along that it'll be the squad effort, the squad togetherness that gets us through this competition and puts us in a good position. And yeah, as you say, a tough decision to make. Some tough decisions to make this week, but we feel the balance of the team is a good one.
Can you talk about the balance of the backs and the people that you've picked? I mean, there's no Robbie Henshaw saying the starting team, or Mac Hansen is probably unlucky to lose out, but then who am I to say? Yeah,
no, that's true. In all of that, obviously you look at our bench, and we've got an experienced bench, an explosive bench, a bench that can come on and add to our performance. So that's pretty important. Also. And then the starters in the back line, you're talking about, Corky, there. You know, again, I think it's a nice balance. I think you've got people who are in form and balance our team up pretty nicely.
And just a final question, what are you expecting from England on the pitch? I mean, there are sides who are kind of building their way into this competition. You know what Twickenham is like for opposing teams to go there. What are you expecting from the England team?
Well, we've got to make sure that they've got a bump in the road. You know, you say that they're building through the competition, but we've got to put a little bit of a stop to that, haven't we? That's our intention, you know, to go over there and prove to ourselves that there's a performance in there from us that's a step above what we've shown already.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi Andy, how are things? Joe here from Virgin Media.
Hi Joe.
Just wanted to ask you, you decided to start Peter O'Mahony with Jack Conan on the bench. What was the thinking behind that decision to kind of switch it from the usual starting with Conan with O'Mahony to come on?
Obviously both great players. Again, we just think that the balance is right for this game. Pete's in good form, not just physically, but he's a good emotional leader for us as well. Leadership's a big part of every team performance, and obviously we know what Pete brings as far as the set piece is concerned and the breakdown is concerned. But the rest of his game has come on an absolute treat. His attack stuff has really stepped up. So. Look, I think he played really well against Italy. I also thought that Jack played really well coming off the bench and had a big impact. And yeah, again, I think the balance is right for this week.
And just with James Lowe starting on the wing and Mac Hansen losing out, what does James Lowe bring into a team when he's fully fit that differentiates him from other players in the back three?
Well, I think we've all seen it, haven't we? You know, certainly the progression that we saw in the autumn, etc., and you know the learnings that he'd taken on board. Certainly, to be able to perform on the big stage at international level is something that we want to see at the weekend. Obviously, he's a big threat, ball in hand. He also links very well, as does Mac, and we all know that he's got a left boot in him as well. So. Obviously, James being on the left wing and left-footed is a big advantage for us.
Okay. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
Hi Andy, how's it going?
Good morning.
Like you said with Keane and Dave Kilcoyne vying for that spot, what got Keane the nod ahead of Dave?
Yeah, it's a good question because it's something that we've been toying with. Keane's obviously got experience, chomping at the bit for an opportunity, as is Killer. we feel that the combination certainly at set piece time is pretty important with Keane there. Keane will go hard, and David will add when he comes on.
No doubt a tough one in midfield as well. You're kind of spoiled for choice with centres. What was the thinking there with Bundy coming back in at 12?
I think he's been playing really well. I think there's the big aspects of his game that's come on strong. Again, he's obviously known for his aggressive ball carrying style, etc. But you know, the delicacies of his game has really come on as well. So we think he deserves a game. Having said that, obviously Robbie, a little bit of lack of game time, etc. He's good to go, fully fit, raring to come on and add to the team as well.
And finally, for me, what kind of performance do you want to see from this 23?
One that themselves from the off, and is relentless in the pursuit to keep getting back on track the whole time, and you know, take the rough with the smooth, and make sure that we manage our way through difficult circumstances, because you know, that's a fact. It's going to happen at Twickenham, but learning from previous mistakes that we've made there, etc., and being ourselves for the full 80 minutes.
Thanks, Andy. All the best.
Thanks, Mary.
Andy, Ed Elliott at PA.
Hi there.
Hi. Johnny was talking earlier this week about his future with the contract and the World Cup, and this could potentially be his last visit to Twickenham. Does that give you an extra incentive going into this game?
It's not something we've talked about. We just care about our preparation for this game, how we best prepare the team, and Johnny's central to that.
And Eddie Jones has obviously been talking and saying Ireland are favourites and the most cohesive team in the world. The bookmakers seem to agree with Eddie on this occasion. Where do you stand on Ireland being favourites?
Doesn't bother me whatsoever. I don't see what it does for and against. It's just about us preparing properly. I also know that Eddie's said plenty of times in the past as well that praise makes you weak. So we make sure that we just keep care of our own house and prepare properly over the next coming days and ready to perform on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hi Andy. I'm just wondering, when there's talk about the different evolutions of the team, and maybe Ireland are a little bit further on as a team compared to England, how do you strike the balance between giving England the correct amount of respect and just that, you know, if you know what I mean, that you don't give them an ounce more respect than they need?
Well, look, we respect every team that we play, as you know, but we certainly respect the challenge ahead of us this weekend. Going to Twickenham, listening to Joe Merle's comments during the week regarding he's never thought of anything but being a favourite at Twickenham, and rightly so. You know, the record's very good there, so it's a massive challenge for us this weekend, and something that we're looking forward to.
And I'm just wondering if you release players back to the provinces, or who you're bringing with you additionally.
Oh yeah, there's a few players that's been released back. I'll wait for the provinces to name their sides as well in the coming days.
Thanks, Andy. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Morning, Andy. Nick Mullins here. Nice to
hey, Nick.
see you. I think it's the first time we've spoken to you since Johnny announced that he's hoping to go on until the World Cup next year. In a list of players who detest losing, where would he stand on that list, do you think?
I think there's probably about 10 of them that would sit at number one, and he's certainly in those 10.
What do you like to work with?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he cares about his own performance, his own preparation, his team's performance. He's a team player first and foremost. He cares, and he's driven to be as good as he possibly can be, and that's why you get longevity in any walk of life.
Was there anything that surprised you about him when you started to work with him that perhaps you hadn't noticed when you were working against him?
No. My first conversation that I remember having with him is the 2013 Lions, where we met for the first time in a hotel a week before we left for Australia, and my first question to him was, do you enjoy talking about rugby? And he looked at me in a strange way to say, are you kidding? That's part of my problem, you know. He loves it. He lives and breathes it, you know. So that's why he's done so well, because you know, when people talk about 10,000 hours and people putting time on the field and it's all about practice, you've not got a clue what's going on in people's minds, and I think I've got a bit of a clue what's going on in Johnny's mind.
Great stuff. Cheers, Andy. Enjoy the weekend.
Cheers, Nick.
We'll take the last question in this section.
Yeah, hi, Andy. Just quick one for me. You were talking earlier there about how you're obviously preparing for not everything to go your own way and having to roll with the punches to an extent. I just wonder how do you in training go about simulating that, or is it just relying on players' past experiences and troubleshooting in the moment?
By not getting in your own way, by allowing yourself to get to the next moment, by not crashing your own thoughts and playing emotionally, etc. You know, we've learned some lessons in that regard, and certainly not too long ago actually. So we're looking to make sure that we get better in that area.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.
Okay, folks, we're going to switch over now to the embargo written word section. Corky, do you want to kick us off?
Well, yeah. Thanks, David. Hi, Pete. All good, yeah?
Hi, Corky. How are you? Yeah, good. All good.
Yeah, I'm grand, also, yeah. Grand. Listen, congratulations on your selection. Is England week kind of different to most other weeks in the sense that you know, the rivalry between the two teams?
Look, we've huge rivalry with all the teams in the Six Nations these days. You know, every game is so important. But look, I'd be fooling to say there isn't something always special between the two of us. You know, it's always a huge occasion, a huge encounter. You know, obviously, given the fact that they're consistently a world-class outfit, you know, it's always a huge test of any team to play against them. So, you know, that's the way it goes. It certainly is a huge occasion when Ireland and England play each other.
You're one of the more experienced players in the pack. You're playing around a lot of kind of younger players, for want of a better phrase. I mean, are you getting more enjoyment out of your rugby now, regardless of who you're playing for?
Look, I've been really enjoying it. You know, when you come into Irish camp, you know, it's always a great environment. The environment that we have here, and all the learning, the enjoyment levels, you know, the people that you're surrounded by. It's a really enjoyable place to be, and you know, the amount of learning that you get. You know, you're always growing your game up here every day. You seem to be picking things up, and you know, for someone who wants to get better all the time, it's a great environment to be in. So yeah, look, whether you're around some of the older heads or the younger guys, it's good fun at the moment.
Can I ask you just about England? I know you have been concentrating a lot on yourselves this week, but what are you expecting from this England team at Twickenham on Saturday?
Look, I think we've seen some of the best versions of what they can produce at times in the Six Nations. You know, their attacking game is obviously very impressive when they're flowing. I think Marcus Smith has brought, you know, real attacking edge to them. You know, Slade as well. I think the two of them are combining up very well. You know, obviously, you know, the English packs, you know, that speaks for themselves, the way they operate with their set piece. You know, their general play around the pitch, their physical team. So I've no doubt that they're probably going to bring their best performance of the tournament this weekend. You know, being back at home, being us, you know what I mean. I'm sure they're going to bring their best game yet. So that's what we got to prepare for, and hopefully we bring our best game as well.
Cheers, mate. Have a good game.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thanks, Peter. Joe here from Virgin Media. How are you today?
Very good, thanks, Joe.
You look, you're very familiar with this fixture.
Sorry, Joe.
Saturday.
Sorry, Joe. If someone there has got something playing in the background, could they make sure that it's muted? You can hear some news feed coming through the back end there.
Apologies, that could actually be on my end, guys. What I'll do is I'll leave the room and I'll ask the next question if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we bounce on to somebody else there, please.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
How's the form?
Good. Can I just bring you back to the Munster or Wasps match, the first game? Pat Campbell's try. Just in the build-up to that, you cleared out Jimmy Goppert. It was one of the sweetest hits I think I've seen in a long time. Have you worked on your technique over the last few months in that, or is it something that if you're in the moment like that, instinct takes over?
Well, certainly the breakdown area is always somewhere. I think every player needs to be evolving and all the time. You know, it is the heartbeat of the game, regardless of what kind of game plan or game style you're playing. So I think every player, no matter where you are, is constantly trying to upskill in that area. But yeah, there's a lot of it is instinct as well. It's trying to be ahead of the game and know where the breakdown is going to happen. And I suppose it's kind of one of the last areas that you can bring, you know, proper physicality and that kind of thing. So but it's certainly about training and upskilling all the time is paramount in that area. You're on mute there, kid.
Yeah, thanks. And just wondering, from the match 2 years ago when Ireland played the Six Nations over there, and like I think Johnny described some of the things as silly or stupid, how much more mature are the team 2 years on from that game and maybe some of the things that went wrong in that game? Do you think you're in a better place to deal with them should something similar happen on Saturday?
Yeah, well, look, we're 2 years down the line. It's a long time in rugby. They're also 2 years down the line. You know what I mean? So games evolve, game plans evolve. We certainly feel like that we're improved, and you know we've had that game and lots of other games that we've taken lessons and learnings from that hopefully we've banked and we'll bring into the weekend. But look, I've no doubt they've done the same. You see the way they've involved as well. They're different style of rugby as well. So you know you got to roll with it. You know, I've always been someone who's, you know what I mean, you've got to take your learnings and you've got to bank them. You can't just tick a box the following weekend and say this happened, we'll sort that, and then move on 6 or 8 weeks down the line and you're saying things are happening again. So we think we've improved and we're a long way down the line with the way we've developed our game plan, our skills, or I suppose even our understanding of what we want to do and why we want to do it. Hopefully we've banked those earnings.
Very good. And just when you were talking to Michael about playing England, and you mentioned before about the nerves in the build-up to a game, do you be more nervous building up to an England game than any other game?
No, I don't think so. I think rugby in general, professional rugby, every game is hugely important, whether it's with club or country. Obviously, you know, country is different to club. There's no point in saying otherwise, but it's every game is so important. Every game brings massive nerves for me still. You know, literally 24 hours out, you know, still feeling physically ill, you know, with what's coming up, the battle, the stipulations, you know, wanting to play well, not wanting to let people down. You know, that doesn't change regardless of who your opposition is. You know, that's always in the forefront of your mind.
Good man, best of luck.
Thank you.
Hi Peter, how's it going? Andy always speaks very complimentary about you around the environment and getting stuck into that side of it. What have you enjoyed about working with Andy and his approach to that side of things away from the actual being on the pitch?
Look, he's created a great environment from a learning point of view. There isn't there isn't there isn't a silly question to be asked. If there's ever, we're very much a kind of an environment that asks the question. We want clarity, we want understanding. He really provides an environment that facilitates guys getting an understanding in the game, be it from him or other coaches or other players in your position or different positions. We all try and help each other out. He's developed an environment that is, it's just a pleasant place to be all the time. Obviously, when you cross the line in training, there's a huge intensity, and even a lot of times when you're not on the pitch, it's very intense with regard to our learning and our video work, our little chats, little groups, that kind of thing. But he's kind of given the tools back to us to really figure out our game and what our strengths are and our weaknesses and what we need to do to work on them. So he's facilitated a really pleasant environment to get better as a player, and that be it a guy coming in for his first time being in a group or a guy playing 10 years on. There certainly isn't a player here who isn't learning every single day he's in Irish camp.
Has his approach to National Rugby then pushed and developed you as a player? He mentioned your set piece breakdown stuff, obviously, but he felt the other sides of your game have pushed on. Have you felt that yourself personally?
Yeah, I have. Well, it has to all the time when you're talking about international rugby and the quality of the group we have. You look at the back row competition that we have. If you're stood still and you think that you're going well, then there's going to be players pass you out, and you've got to keep moving, and he's given us the platform. Paul, Foggs, Caddy, Simon, they've given us the platform to have our capacity kind of, there's no kind of level really, you know what I mean? It depends on you and how much you want to go after it and how much you want to get better. And as I said, that goes for any, whether you're young or old, new in or been here for a long time, your capacity to get better. The only person that's probably stopping it is you. And as I said, the competition there. You look at guys like Nick Timoney. Obviously, the guys who are in very regularly. It's a world class. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back row players is what you're talking about. So it's an environment that if you're not getting better, you're going to be passed out very, very quickly. But at the same time, it's an environment that you're facilitated to get better all the time. So it's very enjoyable.
Thanks very much. Enjoy the weekend.
We'll take the last couple, guys. Joe, do you want to try and jump back in there?
Yeah, I just have one quick one, Peter. You've been part of the 2018 team that won in Twickenham, and it was only 2 teams that won there in the last decade, so you know how to get over the line there. What are the key battles that you need to get right and win in Twickenham to silence the crowd, to get that momentum behind you? What are the real things you need to focus on Saturday?
Yeah, that's a good question, but at the same time, there is no one or two areas. You have to have, I'm not going to say an immaculate performance because that's not going to happen, but you've got to have one of your best when you're playing against the best to win away from home. Particularly in this competition, you see the stats on how hard it is to pick up away wins. Particularly I think England are up around 86, maybe more % of home victories. It's a difficult place to go and win. So if you want to go and win there, you can't say set piece has got to go well and your breakdown's got to go well, because if your defence isn't good enough, you're going to concede points. So it's got to be one of our best performances to win in Twickenham.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we'll wrap it up.
Hello. Could I have a question, Dave?
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Sorry, Peter. Sorry, you mentioned your experience at Twickenham before. You've had a couple of tough days. You've been under the cosh there. in the past, going back 10 years even. Do you allow the emotional side of things, how that felt, do you allow that to inform your mental preparation for the game, or is it all technical these days?
Oh, there are certainly days you don't forget about, but there certainly in the past that was different time, different team, different game almost. Sorry, not almost. It was a different rugby game to the game we're playing today. But you always have those emotional scars, is the only way to describe them, in your career. So they stay with you forever. But they're not something that I was thinking about this week. They're past. They're probably molded me as a rugby player, but they're not something that I go back to very often anyway. They're something that have been there and I've certainly learned lessons from. But I suppose the other side of it is, if you're not on your game in Twickenham against these guys, you know what I mean. These are the kind of things that happen. You know what I mean. They're a very, very good team, and if you're not on your game to a very, very high level, they can score points quick. So, I suppose that's the way I look at it.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we'll leave it there and go across the road to the airport.